those fake hard. Alright, we're playing this guy. You can take his username for whatever you want to think it means. Hey, Master Window 2, thanks a lot for the follow there. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Alright, so e6, knight c3, knight f6, we're taking. He takes back with the pawn, I assume. Okay. Bishop g5. So this is the Queen's Gambit declined, exchange variation. I know this opening pretty darn well, in my opinion. Probably one of the better openings I know. We'll see if Black knows it too well. So the idea is to play Queen c2, develop the knight to one of these two squares. Depending on the situation, I'll either attack on the king's side, or I will go for the minority attack, b4, b5 on the queen's side. So now it all comes down to where I develop the knight. If I develop the knight to f3, it's more of a positional move. If I go to e2, it's more of a attacking idea. Because if you go to e2, you can play f3, and then e4 is the idea there. Based on his setup here, I think I'm going to go e2 and see what he does after this. Hey, how's it going, Hasmi? It's going good, pretty good so far. So f3 and bishop f2 are my next moves. Or f3 castles, or something like that. Okay, a5's not a terrible move. Alright, I think we're going f3. If I castle, the downside is if I castle, he actually has bishop takes h2 check. And I'll kind of show that line in a moment. So I got to play f3. I can castle after this. I'll show it in just a moment there. What if Black plays an early bishop f5 after I play e3? I have ideas of queen to b3, which forks the b7 pawn and the d5 pawn. So Black has to be a little bit careful of bishop f5 in some situations. Okay, I think we're just castling. There's no bishop takes h2 idea anymore. And if he moves this knight, I'll play bishop f2. I also have knight f4 as a potential idea. Let's go rook to d1 first. e4 probably pretty soon. A song about the people who do well in this opening. Okay, I gotta check this on my second monitor. Developers. Yep, so you gotta develop your pieces for sure. That is definitely true. Let's go this move. If he plays bishop to d6, there is a positional threat here. If bishop d6, I play knight b5. Okay. Knight b5. He takes the knight, I take on the queen on c7, and I am positionally better quite a bit, I would feel. Okay, so he's got doubled pawns. I have the two bishops. He has a bad bishop, so positionally speaking, this is pretty darn good for white. So I'm just going to play rook c1. I don't really want to give up control of the file here. I know I just missed a follower too, didn't I? No, maybe not. It'll pop up in the emails anyways. Okay, b4. Getting off my threat of bishop takes b5. Now I can just play knight f4 and pick up the two bishops versus the two knights. I feel that that should be pretty good here. I could also just double the rooks. I think knight f4, though, is probably better. I could also play e4. Let's go knight f4. We're going to pick up the two bishops. Two bishops versus two rooks should be pretty darn good here. My bishop on c7 is actually kind of annoying for his position. He can't really play in like knight b6. He's kind of lacking on counterplay here pretty hard. That's a good trick to remember? Yeah, knight b5 and then queen takes c7. Definitely a tricky pattern in this kind of opening that black can definitely fall into if he's not careful. All right. If I take, he plays knight takes, which isn't bad by any means. I do think, I don't know, this bishop's bad. Do I really need to win it? I think we're going to do it just to see what happens. I still feel like white's doing pretty darn good here, I'd say. All right, we're just going to retreat the bishop. The idea here now, I'm probably just going to walk the king closer. Play bishop to b5 at some point. Okay, rook c6. Rook c6, rook c6. I can actually trade and play rook c1 and pick up a pawn, I think. Take, rook c1, knight d8, bishop c7, and I pick up a pawn. I think that's simplest. If he plays rook c8, I have bishop a6. Do I still calculate all of my moves, or does it become sort of intuition at a certain level? Nope, definitely a lot of calculation still. What does happen once you get to a higher level is that you have more pattern recognition. Notice how I didn't have to really calculate knight to b5. I've seen that pattern before, so I am already kind of aware of it. Alright, we take here. If he goes knight d8, I have rook c8. Otherwise, I'm going to play like king f2 probably. Okay, there's no checkmate here. Actually, there's not even a check. Bishop takes. Yeah, he doesn't even have a check here, so I'm not sure what the idea of that was. We're just going to trade off everything here. Rook c8 to trade off the rooks. Up a full piece. Should be easily winning. We're just going to check and pick up the d5 pawn. Actually, we can check here. G4 just wins the knight outright, actually. This knight's actually trapped. Knight's on the side of the board. Knight's on the rim or grim. Or dim, rim, grim, all that stuff. All those rhyming words. So we're just picking up a free piece. His king actually can't really move anywhere, so I think we're actually just going to walk our king in. I don't want to take the pawn and let his king out of the box here. Oh, what I do? I just push the a-pawn. Do I promote to a rook? I think I have pre-move turned on here. Yeah, or I mean auto-promotion turned on. Okay, so looks like a pretty good game there. So we're going to analyze this one. Yeah, when a position favors you, simplify. When it doesn't, complicate. That's a pretty good general rule, I'd say. Okay, so he plays the opening pretty well. He doesn't really play badly in the opening, I'd say. But after bishop g3, I do think that he needs to... I guess probably best for him is something like, I don't know, maybe rook c8 first, and then queen c7. It's actually not a great opening for black in this kind of situation. He has wasted a bit of time by playing bishop to d6 and then bishop back to e7, so he kind of has wasted a move here by going back and forth. White's plan's pretty simple. e4, e5, oops, e5, f4, f5, kingside attack, right? Black's plan is a bit trickier on the other hand. Maybe he should have instead done c5, or maybe a6 and then c5 to attack on the queen side. That would have probably been a better route to go as well. Hey, confused giraffe. Or giraffe? Great content, man. It's good to see some analyzing after the game, too. Yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to analyze as much as I can. Alright, I'm going to donate some rating points. I promise I'll kill the sound and jump back over here to see why I lost. Okay, I just saw your challenge, so just give me 1 second there. I'll accept in just 1 moment. I think it's a good example of the crushing that everyone wanted you to do. Yeah, finally getting some of the crushing in there. Please show the bishop takes h2 trap. Okay, yeah, that's... Okay, good. Thanks for pointing that out there. Okay, so let's say I castle here. Right, and we're going to flip it to black's side to see what he sees here. It's a typical bishop takes h7, bishop takes h2 type sacrifice. Check, takes, check. If the king goes backwards, the queen now picks up the bishop and gets checkmate there. Or if the king goes this way, takes, and then it's kind of tricky to stop the checkmate. Oops, not the knight. What am I doing? Like a check. I guess you even get this check in here in 4 king and queen. Probably you get checkmate pretty soon, though. And if the king comes up to h3, there's all kinds of discovered checks. I can just check here, and then pick up his queen. And if the king finally comes to g3, at the very least, black gets the piece back by playing g5. At the absolute very least here, he gets the piece back. Also, white's king is absolutely terrible here. Black gets the piece back and the king's horrible. I mean, this is definitely not something white wants to go for. He's not even up a piece for his problems here. So, not what white wants, or not what black, not what white wants to see. So that's why I played f3 first. And then he played bishop e7, I believe. Where'd it go? Yeah, he played bishop e7. If he had castled, I could castle here now. Take, check. I just take the knight. He still gets checked. But here, my king is okay. There's no knight, and I'm up a piece, so that's much, it doesn't work. The sacrifice doesn't work after I play f3, is the idea. Oops, get those colors off there. Let's see. What if the king doesn't take the bishop? Well, if he doesn't take the bishop, let's say I castle. If I don't take the bishop, I just lost a pawn for nothing, and my king side is weak. I mean, you just retreat the bishop, and I'm just down a pawn. So I don't want to just give a free pawn up. This would be best case, I guess, for white. At least he's not getting close to getting checkmated, but he's just down a pawn. You don't really want to do that for free. Let's see here. Any tips on how to improve calculation? Tactics, try